I was strolling the flea market a month ago. I moved into my new apartment. It was small, but cozy. I needed lots of furniture, and I'd been searching local flea markets and online sites for weeks. I was still missing a sofa, night table, a mirror for my bathroom. I looked at the items offered by both retailers and people from neighborhoods. Old watches, cameras, lamps, desks, and more. Every time I saw something that I liked, there was something wrong with it. A sofa with claw marks from pets everywhere. A night table with only 3 legs that cost more than if I would just buy it new. Old cabinets that have been painted in awful colors. And then, after wandering through the endless rows of used items, I saw it. A beautiful but simple mirror offered as the only item on the table of a young man. He didn't sell anything else, only the mirror. It had a stunning antique frame around it, something you would expect in an old palace. I had a thing for antique furniture. My friends often joked about my new apartment, that it would look like someone's grandfather chose the apartment. I looked at the price tag. For free, it said. A mirror like this would get sold for a small fortune at every auction. I inspected it, but couldn't find any damage or other factors that would justify giving it away for free, so I immediately took it. The man looked at me like he felt guilty giving me the mirror, so I double-checked it again after bringing it home, but, it was perfect. The first few days, I really enjoyed looking at myself in the mirror every morning. Due to the beautiful frame, it felt like I was an artwork worthy to be admired. I even thought about putting my signature in the bottom right corner of the mirror as a joke, like it was a painting. I showed the mirror to my friends. They were in awe at its beauty, even though they still teased me about my home decor style. But after the first few days, something felt off. Like every time I looked at the mirror, it seemed like my reflection was slightly delayed, almost unnoticeable. Sometimes my fingers would move slightly different, like they were trying to go in a different direction, similar to a bad connection, like in a video game. I didn't think about it much. I told myself that maybe it was connected to my migraine. My brain was playing tricks on me while I was having these strong headaches. Every morning I was paying closer attention to my reflection. Sometimes it seemed like my own eyes didn't meet my gaze. Other times my body position was ever so slightly off. But it got worse. One day I was woken up by my alarm and walked into my bathroom to get ready for work, when I froze. My reflection was smiling at me. A wide, maniacal smile, with an anticipating gaze. My hands instinctively went up to my face to check if I was actually smiling. I was not. The next days, I dreaded looking into the mirror. I often felt cold sweat on my body when looking into the mirror. It was always smiling. It still mirrored my movements, but it felt half-hearted. I already made up my mind. I was going to throw the mirror away as soon as possible. One morning, I entered the bathroom, my reflection grinning from ear to ear. I lifted my hands to grab the mirror and take it off the wall. But before I could reach the mirror, my reflection lifted its left hand and grabbed my arm. I looked at the mirror, too shocked to even move my fingers. The nails of the reflection dug deep into my skin and started pulling me into the mirror while simultaneously moving its body outwards. I couldn't move. I was looking outside of the mirror. What had been my reflection before was now a man in his 30s looking at me. He tilted his head. I did too. I had no control over my body. I do everything the man outside the mirror did. He gave me a sad smile and said, "I'm sorry." He grabbed the mirror and he carried it outside, all while I was horrified, claustrophobic, having no choice but to mirror his every move. He placed the mirror on the sidewalk with a note. For free. The next hour or so, I often saw passers-by looking at the mirror, fixing their hair. They didn't see me in the mirror. They saw themselves. I tried to tell my brain to move independently, but I only moved when they did. I was imprisoned in a sheet of glass, unsure if I could ever escape. After what felt like an eternity, a young man saw the mirror, looked it up and down, and he grabbed it. He carried the mirror 2 streets further east and into a small apartment. He seemed to like the mirror a lot, placed it inside his bedroom next to a wardrobe. I tried to scream for help, but I couldn't move a single muscle. I only moved to mirror his body. Over the next few days, I watched him try on his outfits, admire himself in the mirror, fix his hair. I watched his entire daily routine trapped inside the glass prison. And then after weeks, and he was trying on a small earring with a glass diamond, I managed to move my finger. It was almost unnoticeable, but I did it. The new owner of the mirror noticed it too, blinked a few times and shrugged. Seemed to think that he just imagined it. A wave of happiness flowed through my body. Maybe I could finally escape. And over the next few days, I managed to move more and more parts of my body, always forced to mirror his movements, but always slightly different. He seemed more concerned and confused every time I did it. And one day, the thrill of being able to move again became too big to contain. I smiled. My facial muscles started to obey me again. My smile widened, almost going from ear to ear. The man looked at the mirror, terrified. In his eyes, I saw true fear. He ran out of the room. After he was gone, I noticed that with my facial muscles, most other limbs had started working again. I could move my arms, but when I tried to reach outward, I could only stretch my hand about 30 centimeters outwards, but my head and torso seemed to hit an invisible wall. I was so trapped, it dawned on me that the mirror needed a replacement for me. If I wanted to escape. Shortly after, I heard the door. The new owner of the mirror returned. I stopped smiling, mirroring his moves and letting him think that he'd just imagined my smile in the morning. He came closer, looking slightly nervous, but relieved that his reflection was no longer smiling. 50 centimeters. 40. 30. My hand shot forward and I managed to grab his arm. With all of the strength I had left, I clawed him into my arms and pulled him towards me. He screamed, but he didn't manage to escape my grasp. I pulled him into the mirror. At the same time, I moved my body outward and broke out of the mirror. We'd swapped places. I stood outside of the mirror and I looked down at my own body. I could move freely. I took a step to the right, then to the left, and I was finally free. Then it dawned on me. The man. I trapped him inside the mirror. I looked back, I saw my own reflection, filled with guilt and shame. "I'm sorry," I whispered. I grabbed the mirror and carried it outside. Using a pen and paper from the man's apartment, I wrote a small note. For free. Hey there kids, it's me, Mr. Creepypasta, and before we say goodnight, I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching tonight's video, or for listening to tonight's episode of the podcast. For those of you guys who are looking for a nice warm drink, my wife happens to sell tea. That's etsy.com/ivorymonocletea. There's a whole bunch of different teas there that are based on some of your favorite things like horror, things like fantasy, things like Dungeons and Dragons, and of course, there is a creepypasta-based tea. There is the Dark and Stormy Night, which is my personal favorite, the one that I like to drink whenever I'm doing my recordings. And if you guys want to get a special MCP dabbing sticker, make sure to ask her for one whenever you order the Dark and Stormy Night. As always, I want to give a very big thank you to everybody who supports me on Patreon, patreon.com/MrCreepyPasta. People such as
Diana Krause, Acid System, Benjamin 2003, Blake Rattler, Bottle Coolant, Brandon Mendoza, Caltuna, Corey X Kenshin, Dakota Best, Daniel Polson, Dante Kincaid, Enchanted Buns, Eric Anthony Caruso, Estebeam, 15 Squirrels in a Trench Coat, Galaxy Gremlin, Hayes Nephew, Himbo Jerry, Our Minute Second Time, Jay Kearns, Jedis Pet, Lou Cipher, Nick MC, Plant Piss, Red Shadowcat, Remember the Sun, Salty Surprise, Samara Lynn, Scary Stories Fuel Me 32, Seclude, Simba's Bloody Mojo, Sky Harbor, Smiley the Psychotic, Sully Man, Holly Sue, Team Leo 76, The Chavez Brothers, The Ginger Bros, Tommy Walters, Viceroy Scorn, William Wellington, X Reaper 69, XX Lucky Cat XX, Zabol, Shadow Gardens, and Peaceful Buddha. Thank you all so much for being here. And as always, sweet dreams.